Charlie Kirk didn't deserve to die just for stating his opinion. Let's be clear, I don't support any sort of violence, especially not gun violence. But let's not minimize the tremendous impact that Charlie Kirk had in creating the division that we see today. For example, on his podcast yesterday, hours before he passed, he said, and I quote, "Black women do not have the brain power to be otherwise taken seriously." Then he went on to defame successful black women such as Michelle Obama, Joy Reid, and Ketanji Brown Jackson, claiming that they are DEI hires. Defamation is words and oftentimes opinions that you can be held civilly liable for in court. If the government can acknowledge that words can kill and words have power, then why can't we? Now, am I saying that Charlie Kirk deserved to die? No, not at all. But let's not minimize the tremendous impact that Charlie Kirk has had in rolling back our rights. He was mobilizing the youth to hate people based on their skin color, their gender, their sexual orientation, and their religion. It's not just opinions.
Charlie Kirk was not a man of God. Charlie Kirk was not a man of God. As a Christian woman, it has been so disheartening over the past 24 hours to see so many of my personally favorite spiritual leaders say that, oh, this man of God, this man of God, this man of God. Anybody can get on a stage, on a microphone, and read the Bible, proclaim Jesus Christ to be Lord. They can be baptized and they can be saved. That does not mean that they are a Christian. The devil himself was in charge of praise and worship in heaven. He commanded all of heaven to praise God. And he knows the Bible just like you know the Bible, and maybe even more so, which is why it's so easy for the devil to use the word of God to trick you into sin. So just because Charlie Kirk gets on a stage every once in a while and proclaims that Jesus is this and X, Y, and Z, and it sounds great, it means zilch. I have so much compassion and empathy for his wife and children having to see him die in such a horrific way. And I would never wish for any child to grow up without their parents. But I will not be guilt-tripped into not feeling bad that this man is no longer with us. I don't cheer for his death. I do not relish in the fact that he was killed and that he was killed in such a violent manner. Even though he has been basically a huge advocate for the ongoing genocide in Gaza. If anything, as a Christian, I wish he would have had a complete change in his heart posture for how he thinks negatively of the least of these, which Jesus commands us to look out for, especially before he passed away. I hate that. I sincerely hate that he died with that amount of hatred for people that need the most protection and the most love, and he died thinking that they were less than him. If you are a Christian and you are going around telling people that Charlie Kirk was a man of God, I need you to go back, crack open your Bible, check out the fruits of the Spirit, and tell me where Charlie Kirk displayed any of those. Go read any of Jesus's teachings and tell me where you saw Charlie Kirk displaying anything that Jesus commands us to do in the New Testament.
Why is everybody mad about the man that said he thinks it's worth it that there be some kind of gun violence every year to keep the Second Amendment protecting their God-given rights? He literally did what he said he wanted. I'm confused. I don't understand. He literally, that's literally what he said. Go watch my last repost, because I keep trying to put it on this video, but it's copywritten. But he literally said himself, I think it's worth it that we lose some people every year to pew-pew violence because it helps protect the Second Amendment right. And I say now is the time to get Black AF history, the unwhitewashed story of America. Now is the time. I literally know there is about to be a revolution. Y'all, you got to be educated, you got to be informed, you got to be ready. Grab one while it's in.
The reaction from some black Christians about Charlie Kirk's death is genuinely mind-boggling and insane. They are doing tributes. They are saying politics aside. This guy built his career on politics, number one. But the politics he built his career on was just hate speech. He had ideologies like white people are superior to black people. Black people were better off as slaves. He said it was necessary for children to die so Americans can keep their gun rights. This is who you lot are doing tributes to. Now, I'm not surprised that certain white people doing their tribute saying rest in peace, because when people show you who they are over and over and over again, you have to believe them. But I'm seeing black people, black Christians say, politics aside, oh, I didn't agree with everything, but what did you agree with then? Tell me. This mindset of forgiveness just because he's a Christian is genuinely a spell from the colonizer, because that mindset is poisonous. That mindset has led to them getting away with whatever they've wanted to do for decades. And furthermore, I'm seeing, oh, but violence isn't the answer. Word to J. Huss, they only respect violence. Violence has been the answer throughout human history. How do you think that religion got into Africa? How do you think the empire became the empire? How do you think Europeans took over America? How do you think colonialists took over Africa? What? You thought they just came in on a kumbaya thing, sat around the fire and said, hey, you know what? Have this. It don't work like that, bruv. Serious questions need to be asked, because right now we are in a world where right-wing extremists are going insane and they're telling you who you are, yet you're reacting this way. If you are reacting that way, I cannot lie, you are having an identity crisis, and it's sad. Everybody wants racists to be unalived until they're unalived. You can't have it both ways. Pick your side. You lot know about the power of the tongue, and if you saw the video, his last words, it was even poetic the way he went. Boy, I don't make the rules. But I'll leave you with this. Nina Simone had a quote saying, "The people who built their heaven on your land is telling you yours is in the sky." In this time, I'm telling you, your beliefs are going to get questioned, and you have to start asking questions for your own sanity. I'm telling you, the time is coming. The time is coming.
Don't take it by chance that this was one of the last things that Charlie Kirk spoke.
The spiritual battle is coming to the West, and the enemies are wokeism or Marxism combining with Islamism to go after what we call the American way of life. And the American way of life is very simple. I want to be able to get married, buy a home, have kids, allow them to ride their bike till the sun goes down, send them to a good school, have a low-crime neighborhood, not to have my kid be taught the lesbian, gay, transgender garbage in their school, not having them have to hear the Muslim call to prayer 5 times a day. We want the American way of life, which is, by the way, Christendom. Christians, our sacrifice, our toil, our vision, the outgrowth of the scriptures gave us Western civilization. And this is where I think is a great rallying cry. Doesn't matter if you're Hispanic, doesn't matter if you're Asian, doesn't matter if you're black or white. Everybody, if you are Christian and Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior, these two threats are combining forces to come after us. And it's time that the church stands and rises up against it.
Hear me when I say this. God is not moving on a conservative party. As a matter of fact, he found many of them to be treacherous. Like there were so many of them who were hiding behind anti-Semitism, which God was never pleased with. But they were hiding behind anti-Semitism. They seemingly spoke truth. They honored him with their lips, but their hearts were far from him because of their political view. If this was political, just 3 days ago, Charlie wouldn't have had witches plotting against him. They didn't plot on him because of a political view. They plotted on him because of their spiritual view. Please hear this. You better wake up. Because what's coming up against you, your political view will not save you. You're going to need the Spirit of God backing you to move in complete and total authority, not just in the truth that you speak, but in the unity of His Spirit, who is the Holy Spirit, to push back the darkness that is trying to come up against our nation and our children. And hear this, even your very life. God is in fact inviting you to reach the turning point out of your political view. Hear this, come out from among them and be ye separated from your political view and into His marvelous light, to come into unity with His Spirit and accept the invitation that He is arising a remnant in this very hour and will worship Him in spirit and in truth.
I don't know. Why is everybody mad? Someone should tell me in the comment section, because honestly, I don't see reasons why people should come and be telling people that you do not need to be coming online to just air out your opinion and say. Charlie was actually airing out his own opinion without any fear or favor. He don't care. Charlie will literally do every single thing to win a debate. Charlie will literally do every single thing to make sure that he is on the right platform. If you do not agree with him, it is not his business. So why do a lot of people care and they want a lot of people to come here and start sympathizing, start crying, start wailing? If you want to wail, I'm not saying you should not. If you want to sympathize, if you want to mourn, I'm not stopping you. But you do not come here to tell people what they need to do. Because a lot of people have seen a lot of things that he has been putting out online, and they either agree or they either disagree. But Charlie will never care if you agree or disagree with him. So do not come here and look like we are the bad person, you are the good person. Let everybody also air out their opinion, because that is exactly what Charlie will do if eventually anything happened to anybody in this situation. Someone that literally said, let's go ahead and celebrate Pew and so on and so forth. What else do you expect? Someone that in his podcast can really get furious and come out with his full chest if you do not agree with him just because he wants to win a debate. What do you expect? So you expect every single person to now come because that happened and they should be like, oh, I feel so bad. Let's get it that is in a scenario, maybe his death was through a fatal accident, right? A lot of people will have come out to be like, oh my God, we're so sorry. But this came directly from what he was preaching. This came directly from what he was portraying. This came directly from what he was actually encouraging, whether you like it or not. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Sonia. If this is the first time you're tuning in, do what, subscribe, like this video, drop me your comments, and lastly, do not forget to share for every single person to get this good news. This video is just for educational purpose so that me and you can actually learn. And these are the black people coming out to air out their opinion. I did a part 1. If you've not watched, watch the part 1, because this is actually the part 2, airing out their opinion on what they actually feel. And do I totally agree with their opinion? In some cases, yes. Do I totally disagree with some people's opinion? In some cases, yes as well. That is why this platform is for me and you to learn. Credit belongs to original creators of every clips and stitches used in today's episode. Let's go back and continue this video, and I will be back with commentaries. Meanwhile, let me know what you think in the comment section. Thank you so much for always coming back to watch my videos, and let's go back to this video.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's not a popular news now. Say Charles Kirk don't die. Then at Charles Kirk. We don't discuss the matter now for my sisterhood group. Somebody they say, do I feel empathy? I said even Charles Kirk did not believe in empathy, my dear. It would be disrespectful to him for me to feel empathy for him. He wouldn't support that. He wouldn't like that. You get what I mean? So I will instead pour a wine that we have one less oppressor down the food chain. Acquire your wine, acquire your satin, Sha. I'm gonna find my satin, guys. Anyway, where your satin, guys? Our oppressors don't die. Where your satin? Where your satin? Where your satin? Oh, where your satin? The same Charles Kirk said that he will allow his own daughter give birth. If the daughter, a 10-year-old daughter, was great, and she became pregnant, Charles say he go let the pikin born. And that is why I need you to understand that men don't see you as a human being. They see you as an object, a property, something to be owned, controlled. Because now, are you saying that the child of a rapist will be your grandchild? Charles also said that Palestine does not exist. He said, and I quote, the land of Palestine is Judea and Samaria. You see why I'm bothered about Charles' ideology? He goes to the young crowd. People that their frontal lobe have not developed. Is those people that he's going to have a debate with. And that's why it's funny. Why are you not having the only time he did an intellectual debate with doctors, they won. The doctors won. Because he will never go to a place where they can challenge him to the point of depth. He can't. He won't go there. He would rather go to a place where he will use your question, he'll be asking you questions, and using it's not an argument. I debate for fun. There's no debate. Even this country where I come, I don't enter debate club because that's the quickest way you can upscale your knowledge. I debate. I love to debate. In debate, you don't say no, that's not true. That's not true. You cut. No. You don't debate like that. You don't enforce. Your debate is for you to learn. No, it's not by whether you will win or will not win. If you have strong point and you have strong point, let's see. But he never has strong point. He's just really impulsive. In the impose. He just wants to impose his ideology. Same Charles supported the right to gun ownership because he wanted to uphold the Second Amendment. St. Charles said empathy is for the woke, that he will never feel any empathy for anybody. St. Charles said that he's not bothered if a few people needs to be buried by the gun, by the pew-pew, so that same Second Amendment will be upheld, or upheld in this case. St. Charles said a lot of things. That Africa was better colonized. That this is Africa that had the longest war, longer than the width of USA, longer than the walls of China. We had our own technology, had our own industrialization, had our own civilization. But Charles said that Africa was better off colonized. Now what do we have? The byproduct of colonization. I beg. It's a byproduct from feminism to all of these issues that we have. If we were not colonized, we wouldn't have it. But he said we're better off colonized. Now you're telling me to talk about nuclear weapon. You're telling me to talk about a GMO. If we were not colonized, will we have all these issues? Will we? Among the many things that Charles said, I will not want to quote and keep quoting, but the truth is that there's a fine line between your belief and extremity. That's why they have something called religion extremist, political extremist. When you are entering extremist, you need to check yourself. You need to check yourself. Even this feminism, what would they do? There's a reason why I'm not pushing you to be misandrist. Or you think I can't do that? Or you think I cannot push the ideology of misandry? But anything that is extreme, I will not be part of it. Somebody was telling me, oh, Biddy, why do you listen to Odumodu Black? You are not a feminist. I say, okay, if your own feminist push you to the point that you don't use services provided by men, you don't listen to song provided by men, you live in your own world where everything is done by women, fine. But today, as I'm speaking to you, this whole world is still 100% male. 100% male-centered. And so if your Uber driver was a guy, if everything was a guy, and you're telling me, oh, you're not feminist enough, you're listening to Odumodu, you too, you're not feminist enough, your Uber driver is a guy. You're not feminist enough, your Okada is a guy. You're not feminist enough. You cannot tell me I will not use the services of the men that are providing it while I am fighting for women to be more saturated in the spaces where I want women to be. I'm just being biased. Because how many women are even in these spaces? How many women sing songs? How many women do you celebrate? How many women go up to that point in Nigeria? Before in Nigeria, for 20 years in hip-hop, there was no woman hitting the top 3. It's now that we're so grateful we have our star, we have Rema, we have a lot of people thanks to digitalization. If not, even if you were good as a woman back in the day, the game will not let you thrive. It will never let you thrive. Back to Charles. I was talking about extremity. If you allow yourself to be extreme, you go by. That's the truth. You go by. If you do too much for religion, you go by. If you do too much for politics, you go by. If you do too much for everywhere, not be only you day. Not be only you like and pass now. Now only you day. You carry the religion for head. You carry the feminism for head. You carry the everything. Not be only you day. I still a fuck man assassinate yes so. You understand? And I still support good men. I never come here and say, oh, burn all the men at the stake. No. I say, if your man is good, he provide for you, he love you. Now the kind of man where we define. Abi? But if you carry everything for your head, you are headed to an extreme point. Now, Igwe. Give this one where carry everything for your head award, I beg. What do you mean there's no award? Or you give him extra Eba? Eba no still dey. My sister, I don't know what to go do for you. My brother, extra Eba no dey. Igwe says still busy. There's a fine line between being extreme and believing in your beliefs, or voicing your beliefs, or talking about the things that you believe in. And one of the spirit of discernment is also learning the difference. Being able to recognize that thin line when you are getting to that point. You get me? You get me? No be that one of the stakeholders of Jai's bank where his son be one blow up aeroplane. That what's be that name safe? Even like Papa go report to American embassy, say I'm noticing the signs of extremity in my son. There is nothing that you do that when you become extreme, you are not seen as dangerous. There is nothing that you do that you become extreme that you are not seen as dangerous. And for Charles, that was what happened. Whether the unaliver was leftist or rightist, was black or white, the problem that America has is divide. They want to blame they don't want to find the solution. They always want to blame. Either they blame the LGBTQ, they blame the black, they blame the white, they blame the woman, they blame the man, they blame the Hispanic. Y'all just blame. There is never no solution. It's a defensive mechanism that America has actually done. And when you look at it from the outside, you are like United States. But y'all are the most divided. You're the most divided. Because when something happens, blame game. Who are we going to blame today? That's how you guys rule and run. And I was saying that America is fundamentally built on the structure of white supremacy. That is why politics and religion are two inseparable units. You cannot subtract politics from religion. Both of them are intertwined. And that is why most Nigerians were going to support Charles, because even Nigeria, the religion in Nigeria is also catering to the needs of white patriarchy and supremacy. Take, for example, Israel. Nigerians support Israel. They think it's a biblical war, but they don't know it's actually not. You get what I mean? And so, yes, Tirik Bosa say our oppressor don't go. Bosa. Bosa. Bos.
I'm sorry, because am I actually seeing people say that they feel bad for Charlie Kirk? I know I'm seeing a lot of people saying that, oh, you guys shouldn't be saying this shit happened. The same man who said, oh, there's a cost to liberty. When you allow gun ownership, you allow gun death. Like, tell me we're talking about the same man. Either people are talking about somebody else or they're fucking deluded. We're in a state of delusion. Like, yes, the world's fucking collapsing, but what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing?
Charlie Kirk's death has led me to an uncomfortable conversation that I want to facilitate. To my white brothers and sisters, how would you hope your minority friends respond to the celebration of Charlie Kirk's life when he has very publicly said things like this?
I live like a capitalist every single day, Cenk. I live as a capitalist. Because of DEI, it begs the question, when you see a black pilot, you wonder, you say, I hope they are qualified. If I'm dealing with somebody in customer service who's a moronic black woman, I wonder, is she there because of her excellence? And Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously.
Refer to Asian individuals by the C word, a word too violent for me to even utter. Refer to Michelle Obama and Ketanji Brown Jackson of the Supreme Court, both Harvard graduates, as not having the brain processing power to be taken seriously. Suggested that if seeing a black pilot, would assume they were a DEI hire. To my white brothers and sisters, I'm genuinely asking, how would you like your minority friends to respond to the celebration of his life? Not to his death, but to the celebration of his life.
Let me get this straight. Charlie Kirk gets unalived in Utah. The first suspect that is detained is white. The second people that are suspected is also Caucasian, right? How y'all get to HBCUs? The fact that you want black people to feel the exact pain that you're feeling is on brand for America. That's why you're never going to trick me that race is not an important subject. That's why you're never going to trick me that race is not an important subject. Because just because something happened to a white Christian nationalist, a racist, a bigot, y'all then somehow y'all found y'all way to black people once again. Whenever something happens in the white community, it's never, hey, this is white on white crime. Somehow y'all once again ended up at the doorstep of black people. The sad part is your version of mourning is targeting black and brown people. This is why you can never fool me that race is not an important subject to talk about.
We do the oddest thing in our society, which is that when someone dies, it immediately becomes tacky to talk about anything negative from their life. Like when someone dies, it immediately shifts to, well, this person was a husband and a father, so anything he may have done in his life doesn't matter anymore. It is just sad that he is dead and now we need to mourn. And I find that so odd because what it does is it immediately forces you as a dead person into a flat 2D character, right? You lose all of your nuance and complexity and you instead just become a sort of saint who no one can ever talk about with any nuance or detail. And I think the only people who that ultimately helps are people who have committed harm and abuse, because then it makes it so that the things that they did when they were alive and the harms that they caused immediately get wiped away and misremembered simply because they're dead. And in doing that, we re-traumatize and harm all over again the people who were harmed by this person who is now dead by denying the experience and denying them any ability or recourse to talk about the harm that this person has caused, even though that person is no longer here. And I think that ultimately what this signals toward is our inability to hold two truths and two realities at the same time. Because it can both be true that someone lost a father and a husband and that is sad for that person and their family. And it can also be true that that person has created immense harm in our society, and that it's important to be able to like recognize and name how that harm it creates reverberations, right? Like both of those things are true. I think that ultimately when we stay in this place where we don't sort of reckon with the messiness of what it means to be a person, right? We're just flattening down the human experience into something palatable. And I don't know, like why would anyone want to not be remembered for the fullness of their life?
Am I surprised by the way Black Christians are acting? No, I'm not surprised. Honestly, I'm not surprised. It will never surprise me that Black Christians are more willing to send their condolences to a white supremacist, to someone who wouldn't even look them in the eye, someone who even wanted them to die, than to mourn for the victims in Sudan, for the victims in Congo, for even the fact that I've seen so many images, so many posts of Black Christians saying, oh, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk, oh, sending my condolences, thoughts and prayers to a white supremacist, to someone who would have, if he was alive now, would have still hated your guts. The same person that mocked empathy. The same person that called empathy a new age, whatever he said, a new age thing, is the same person you guys are mourning. It does not surprise me. Every day it shows me time and time and time again why I am disappointed, and I will constantly be disappointed in Black Christians. Every single day, every single time I go on my Instagram, how many people have been posting about oh Charlie Kirk, rest in peace, posting the Bible quotes and posting rest in peace on his about him. I'm not surprised. Honestly, I'm not surprised. It just shows that if the colonizers were here, you guys would have been mourning them as well, wouldn't you? Because you're mourning Charlie Kirk. It doesn't surprise me at all. It doesn't surprise me that Black Christians, African Christians, are mourning the death of this man, of this disgusting man. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
Eye service and hypocrisy in Nigeria is at all levels, from top to bottom, bottom to top. Since the barbaric and senseless spying of Charlie Kirk, a lot of Nigerian celebrities, including Nigerian famous gospel musicians, have been sending their condolence messages to America and his families. Fine and good, that shows you're human. But my question is, when that woman in Nigeria lost her twins because of 28,000 naira, how many of you spoke about it? None of you spoke about it. None of you tweeted or retweeted. None of you sent your condolences to that woman and her family. She lost 2 babies because of you and your government's inability. But here you are tweeting and retweeting your condolence messages to someone in America. Your house, they burn, you they pursue rats. What about Edo State? For the past 2 weeks now, it's been kidnapping and kidnapping in Edo State. We have not heard you people send your condolence messages to the families that were affected in those states. Fish Magnet, who was senselessly buried in Anambra State, none of you spoke about it. But you are here tweeting to America. Over the weekend, over 100 people were buried in Nigeria. It was on the news. Punch News carried it. Are you telling me that you did not see it? You gospel singers and celebrities, you did not speak about it.
This Charlie Kirk thing kind of put the nail in the coffin of me being a Democrat. I was slowly moving away from it anyway because I was noticing certain things, but I'm not a Democrat. And I'm not a Republican either, but I'm not a Democrat. And I just noticed, like, certain things, like the way that the conversation would be shut down by calling somebody a name or calling somebody a bigot. It's like, okay, and why am I a bigot just because I disagree with you? Like, I can disagree with you and still not want anything bad for you. I just disagree. And it's like, oh, you're personally committing violence against me if you disagree. It's like, that's a cop-out. And I would notice certain things like that. I would notice that I was being intentionally angered every 4 years so that I would go out and vote. It would be a new token thing to like get behind. Oh, if you don't vote this year, this thing's going to happen and everything's going to be taken away. But then the next year, none of those things would happen. So I was just being gaslit every single time. And it's crazy because like I didn't recognize it. But, as I started to just see it, I started to see how like it's one thing to believe in something, it's another thing to tell somebody they're bad if they don't, especially if the view is wacky, crazy, and all the way out there. Canceling somebody for something that they did when they was 8 years old, for something that they said when they was 8 years old, and that thing wasn't even a slur back then. It's like, what are we like do? Like, people can't grow. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's a way to keep people in control. And if you don't think exactly how I think, if you ever step in line, I can just like, take away. You know what I'm trying to say? And it was just very controlling, but just very evil. And like the moral superiority, the moral high horse, and the performative activism was crazy. Like, oh, we are so oppressed, and go, like, ride the Starbucks. It's like there's actually people that are in different countries, and like that's very disrespectful to them to say that you're oppressed like that. Like, I would debate people down. And here's the thing, I had to come to realization that like I would go online to see what I should feel about a subject instead of actually saying what I did feel about the subject, to see what they were saying, and I would hop on it. And I had to be honest, I was hopping on bandwagons. And yes, it was when I was younger, but as I just grew older, I'm like, this not it. And finally, when it comes to the death of somebody, it's like, it doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter what they think. Nobody deserves that. I can see if you just heard about it, but you saw it on camera and you still saying you ain't sad about it. That's like, your humanity is now lost. Like, politics is making like some of them crazy. And that's why I was just like, oh, y'all are drinking Kool-Aid right now, and I'm not gonna drink that. Like, I'm gonna just walk off. And that's one of the reasons why. And it's the nail in the coffin, because if you are so politicked out that you cannot cry when somebody unalive, you're not as moral as you think you are. Sorry.
The most important sentence Charlie Kirk ever said to me was, "God loves you. You're a part of this movement, and we've got your back." Speaking at an event with Charlie Kirk at a TPUSA event at Ohio State in 2019, we were accosted by a lot of people in the audience that didn't like the fact that I was gay and did not like the fact that Charlie Kirk gave a gay man a platform, a national public platform that he gave me my entire career in public life to Charlie Kirk. And these are the words that he said to me, because he was not only a great man, but he was one that actively worked to be a good man. So as there's so much hatred and so much vitriol being spewed out by people who didn't know the human being that Charlie Kirk was, they know an avatar, they know that some talking head or something that popped up in their phone that said things that they didn't like. He was a human being. He was a great man, but also a good man. He was also a husband, a father, somebody who made countless careers and who has inspired tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people through creating Turning Point USA, through mentoring, through groundwork, through the campus events, through all of these different things. He was a great man. He was a good man. And he was also a human being. Now, that's not going to stop the denizens of the internet from spewing hatred towards Charlie Kirk and towards anybody that supported him and towards other people that have public platforms that have openly conservative beliefs. There's somebody that I love very much and that loves me that said to me one time, after he had looked at something that I posted and made his way into the comment section and saw the nastiness there. And he said, I wish that they knew the version of you that I knew. I wish that they knew the version of you that's silly and the version of you that's funny and the version of you that's warm and loving and caring and all that stuff. And I said to this person, I'm not even a human being to these people. I'm just some face that pops up on their phone saying things that they don't like. And because I say that these things that they don't like, then, you know, my death should be wished for, or, you know, that I've had situations where, like, I've been surrounded and accosted and all of this stuff, and people will say things like, yeah, I wish they would have beaten you to death. And people say these things, and they say them all the time. Because to them, I'm not a human being. To them, I'm just some avatar to spew hatred because they don't agree with my points of view. And Charlie died as a result of the hatred that people spew towards people that don't share their points of view. And so now there is violence in this country that is enacted upon people because they have said things. I'm saying this all so that we can remember Charlie Kirk's humanity. It's a human being, a father, a husband. A great man that actively worked to be a good one. And if we don't figure out how to see the humanity in people whose opinions we don't agree with, we're in a lot of trouble as a country. Because as Charlie said, when people stop talking is when the violence starts. We cannot stop talking. And we need to start seeing each other as human.
Anyways, welcome back, guys. After seeing all of that clips that I have and I've played for you guys, what do you guys think in the comment section? Do you think that these people's feelings is actually going to be override, or do you think that these people do not really have conscience, or do you think that the Black community should have sympathized with him in a different way? If you are actually watching, what do you think in the comment section? Do you really sympathize from the depth of your heart, or you're just coming to come on flag? I want to know in the comment section. Anyways, before I go ahead and say whatsoever I want to say, right, let's take some some comments that other people actually have here, right? Okay. So this is from one of the video that I actually showed you guys the clip. And Laura here said, how many African countries were colonized? Well, let's forget about that one. This one said, mind you, he does not even think of us as people. Is that true? Yes. He has never, even if you like, come and argue. That man has never considered any Black person as something good that has happened. He has never. And that person said Charlie Kirk is a racist because he said the biggest threat to the Black community is not having a father in the home. He literally stated he literally is stating bold but true facts in hopes to better lives and community. I didn't agree with all of the things like abortions, but not because I think he is wrong, because I do think abortion is bad. But I think women have a right to choose. It is scary on how easy people are influenced and follow a crowd of agenda, being pushed without truly processing their thoughts. These are people's comments, right? Was he a threat? I wouldn't really say that. But I just know that he don't like black people. That is it. Accept it or leave it. And talking about the abortion end is because he actually wants to win the debates. That is Charlie for you. He will do everything to win a debate. If you don't agree with him, you are on your own. So why will a lot of black people agree with him now? He said the Civil Rights Act was a mistake, that black people were better off in the 1940s. This is someone that you want the black community to come here and start rolling on the floor and start hitting their head and start saying, oh my God, my heart is breaking, my heart is beating. A lot of people are tagging it that man should not be judged because he doesn't just agree with your own opinion. But I don't see Charlie as someone that doesn't just agree with your own opinion. I see him as someone that in everything he said, he wants you to agree with him. It's as simple as ABCD. And the moment you are not in agreement with him, he will make sure he say anything that will convince you and make you accept it by force. Another person said, my block list is so long. Exactly, my darling. 31 had long years. Lol, I was shocked. He was 31. Very young and vibrant person that probably will have just tried his possible best to bring both the whites and community together because he had the audience to do that. But no. Can someone be Christian, racist? Let me answer this one first. Can someone be a Christian and a racist at the same time? Absolutely, yes. Even the Bible says, not everybody that call me Lord, Lord will see my kingdom. But I pray you rest in peace. And white Christian nationalists, the answer is yes. One in the behalf of God's known, blah, blah, blah. Let's leave that one. As a Nigerian Christian, I couldn't agree more. I have tried to explain and break it down for people that just don't get it. As a Nigerian Christian as well, and as a full-time YouTuber, I do not really agree as well. And I will keep telling people, even when my friend was like, oh my God, did you hear that Charlie Kirk is there? I was like, yeah, I heard it. I heard it, but what do we do? He sowed, and what he reaped came against him. What did he say that was racist? He stated about black community. So I think it is the beef in which FBI's Foundational American State. He was a man of God. He doesn't need your empathy. Who are you exactly? He has millions of people that supported and love him. I was also among those ones that actually supported and loved him then, before he started becoming something else. So my dear, sorry, this is not all about the FBI stuff. This is also about, who is calling me by this time? This is also about what you give and what you take. Finally, someone said it exactly. Same, I have unfollowed quite a few people because what are people doing? I tire. It is so disappointing, exactly, darling. If a society unlimited tolerance, intolerance will be seized and destroyed by the intolerance. Therefore, to maintain a tolerant society, we must claim the right to not tolerate intolerance. Thank you, sir. I really hear this one. This one is very good. Just because someone does not agree with something that we have been desensitized to, which is a pattern of poor behavior from our community, does not make him a racist between actual kind or means. Excuse me? Excuse me? Excuse me? Yes. Can you hear that? Let me read again. Just because someone does not agree with something that we have been desensitized to, which is a pattern of poor behavior for our community, does not make them racist. Who is a racist? Ask yourself that question. Who is a racist? I've said it on countless of my videos. Everybody can be a racist, be it white and black. Right? It is cool that you don't agree with me, but for you to discriminate me, that's you being racist, high profile. You cannot agree with what I'm saying. It's fine. That's me and you debating and you don't agree. But for you to come out plainly to my eyes, there's a lot of things that these guys have said about blacks now. Please, you should cut me all that craps. Same people who believe in death row too. Exactly. Anyways, honestly, his political and personal belief contradicts who Christ is and what the Bible say about being a follower of Christ. But because he is a Christian, people act as if it is well. It is so disappointing, especially from our own people. Very disappointing. And that is just the honest truth. That is all I got for you in this video. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comment section. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. And this is just for educational purpose. Let me know your humble opinion. Do you think the blacks should actually act the way they're acting or not? I want to know. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. And every clips and stitches used in today's episode credit belongs to original creators of these videos. And yes, with no further ado, I'm going to be saying bye and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye for now. I love you guys. Mwah.